We're going to look at how stories help young learners analyse people via the characters and understand the relationships between them, see the patterns in a sequence of events through the plot and understand why things happen, evaluate ideas and use these skills to solve problems following the journey of the characters in the story. So, looking at Hansel and Gretel first, the story has two main characters, Hansel and Gretel, and then the additional characters of the witch and the children's parents. We can ask students to analyse the characters of Hansel and Gretel using different kinds of evidence from the story. And we can base this on the characters' actions, what do they do in the story, their words, what do they say, and their feelings, what feelings do they show at different times in the story. We could guide students as a class to make mind maps for both Hansel and Gretel using these categories to bring out a deeper understanding of their characters, asking questions as they do so, such as, what does Hansel do? What does this show us about him? What do we call people who have lots of ideas? And so on. Then we want our learners to dig deeper and think about the relationships between the characters. And for this, we can start with using the strategy of compare and contrast, which we use to get students to understand the similarities and differences between things, or people in this case. We could do this using another visual organiser, in this case a Venn diagram, which is great for plotting how things are different and how they are the same. And then with this activity, a star quality line, focusing on what the students might perceive to be a key strength of each character, to emphasise that as part of our similarities and differences, we all have different strengths. Understanding this is such an important part of teaching young learners to collaborate with others. If we can appreciate other people's strengths and understand what they bring to the table, we will all work better together. We can extend the activity to getting our young learners to think about their own relationships with their classmates. They can think about the similarities and differences between them and also assign a key strength to each student. So they appreciate that everyone is similar in some ways and different in other ways, but also that everyone is special and has their unique strengths to bring to a task. To be more critical thinkers, we have to be aware of different points of view and draw our own conclusions from what we hear. Traditional stories can be a really fun way of doing this, as they are usually told very firmly from one point of view, that of the hero or heroes. They are put into the danger by the actions of the villain. In the story of Little Red Riding Hood, this is the big bad wolf, and we root for our heroes to succeed, to defeat and punish the villain. To get students thinking more critically, we can get them to try and imagine how it feels to be the wolf. What is his side of the story? Can they think about the story again from the wolf's point of view? So you might ask the question, why does the wolf act the way he does? And start eliciting ideas from the class as a whole, and then divide them into groups to come up with more ideas that they can share. Of course, there's no right answer to this activity. The idea is for your young learners to see that there is another way of seeing the story that we aren't told about, and that is the wolf's point of view. Critical thinkers are aware of these different points of view, and they draw their own conclusions from considering them. Hearing or thinking about the wolf's side of the story might make us more sympathetic to him, and then we might draw different conclusions about the ending of the story. For example, do we still think that Red Riding Hood should punish the wolf if we feel more sympathy for him? What could she do instead?